Inspiring tale. Little girl's heartfelt plea for food after 3 days reveals Millionaire's life-changing impact on struggling family. In a small, economically challenged town in Middle America, Sarah felt the weight of despair pressing against her chest. Her life, once vibrant with laughter and love, had turned into a daily struggle after losing her job at the local diner. Bills piled up around her like insurmountable mountains, while her empty fridge echoed their plight. Each morning brought a frigid reminder. No money meant no food for her two young children. At 32, Sarah was not just a mother, she was a warrior fighting battles she never signed up for. Lily, her spirited 8-year-old daughter, shot through their modest home filled with warmth and humor, blissfully unaware of the ever-tightening grip of their financial woes. She danced around, creating jokes and games that made Sarah giggle, masking her own worries. However, as days passed without food, the laughter took on a different tone, now mingled with unspoken anxiety. The children usually chased each other as giggles, but Sarah caught the worried looks lingering in Lily's blue eyes. How could she explain their situation without shattering her daughter's sunny spirit? 3 days without a full meal crept by slowly. The shelves were bare, and every playful shout from Lily felt like a stab to Sarah's heart. But Lily, in her innocent glow, decided to take action. She created a heartfelt video, camera in hand, pouring out words that echoed between thoughts. "We're hungry. We need help." The innocent plea for assistance, pure and unfiltered, was a stark contrast to her mother's internal battles with pride. When the morning dawned, Sarah awoke to a flurry of notifications. Her heart raced. The video had gone viral. Lily's radiant spirit had touched the community, igniting compassion like a wildfire. But with the kindness came skepticism, too. The man whose wealth had once been untouchable, Jack, a former local who made it big, was mentioned as willing to help. This stirred debate among townsfolk about privilege and identity. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As Jack stood at Sarah's doorstep, tension crackled in the air. When their eyes met, something shifted. Jack listened as Sarah poured her heart out, detailing every struggle, the sleepless nights, the gnawing fear. Each word was heavy with vulnerability, revealing the scars left behind by economic hardship. Jack's earnestness shone through in their dialogue, but the weight of their pasts loomed heavily around them. Could they bridge that gap of understanding? As offers of help spilled in, Sarah couldn't help but wonder if she could accept it without losing herself. But as Jack's intentions laid bare before her, their connection sparked hope amid the uncertainty. What had begun as a simple plea for food could mean profound change, not just for Sarah and her children, but the entire community. Would they overcome pride and fear together, or would the barriers of their pasts keep us all apart? The air hung thick with anticipation, each heartbeat echoing the question, what would come next? The moment hung between them, fragile yet electric. Jack's gaze bore into Sarah's, and he shifted slightly, as if finally ready to make his own vulnerability known. "I know it's hard to accept help," he said softly, "but I've been where you are. Well, not exactly, but I get the struggle. My family faced challenges too, and it terrified me to think of my mom not being able to feed us." Sarah's heartbeat quickened. His words were a lifeline thrown in the turbulent sea of her despair. She hadn't imagined that this man so far removed from her world might have shared some of her pain. But the gap between their circumstances still felt monumental. Her brow furrowed, and she hesitated. "But you have everything. What could you possibly know about this?" Jack winced at her sharpness. "You'd be surprised. Money doesn't shield you from suffering. It just changes its form." He paused, glancing down, gathering his thoughts. "I want to help. I want to change that narrative for you and Lily. If you'll let me." Tears pricked at the corners of Sarah's eyes. Each offer behind his well-composed demeanor felt like a threat to her self-worth. She took a deep breath, shoving back a rush of emotion. "And if I say yes, what does that mean for us?" In that quiet moment, hope flickered. Jack stepped closer, sincerity radiating off him. "It means your children will eat, Sarah. It means there's a chance for a better tomorrow. I'm here because I want that for you." The moment felt monumental, yet the fear of rejection loomed large. A little voice inside her whispered doubts about trusting a man who had not known hardship in the same way she had. Just then, Lily came barreling into the room, her wild hair bouncing with her enthusiasm.
Mom,
"Can we go for ice cream later?" Her eyes sparkled with innocence and the lightness that had once filled their home. "Yes, sweetheart," Sarah replied, a forced placidity settling over her like armor. But how could she enjoy ice cream when other basic needs were hanging over their heads? Jack's expression shifted as he knelt to meet Lily's gaze. "How about we get ice cream together, and afterward, you can show me your favorite games?" The child didn't hesitate, her small hand reaching out to Jack with unprecedented trust. "Okay," she chirped. Sarah watched, her heart aching. Maybe the bonds they were forming were deeper than she had anticipated. Maybe there was more to Jack than wealth and privilege. The next minutes swirled with tentative laughter, and Sarah remained guarded yet yearning. She couldn't shake the fear of vulnerability. Every action they took together felt like a step into uncharted territory. The possibility of profound change drifted like a dandelion in the wind, beautiful yet fleeting. As they settled back into their cozy living room, Sarah's thoughts buzzed chaotically. Could she really let Jack in? Did she dare to trust him in the wild ride of this unexpected circumstance? The doorbell rang unexpectedly, interrupting her thoughts. Heart racing, she glanced at Jack, who gave her a reassuring nod. "I've got it," he said gently, moving to answer. The moment felt electric, yet apprehensive. Outside, the crowd was buzzing. Whoever was there clearly meant business. Sarah took a deep breath, her heart wards fluttering with an unfamiliar mixture of hope and anxiety. As Jack swung open the door, she held her breath, oblivious to what awaited on the other side. Would it bring more help, or complications that would push them further back into uncertainty? The door opened, and a wave of voices rose, equal parts excitement and determination. Standing on the threshold was not just one person but a group from the community. They had come to lend their support, holding donations and gestures of goodwill, ready to extend their hands in solidarity. Sarah's breath caught as banners of compassion unfolded before her like petals blooming in the spring. Maybe they were ready to unite, transform the fabric of their lives, and change the narrative altogether. But as she stepped forward, something gnawed at her, a familiar fear. Could this really be the turning point? With every heartbeat echoing doubt and possibility, she stood at the brink of a new beginning. What had begun as Lily's call for help was evolving into an unexpected community revival, but would they all join together, or would the shadows of their pasts push them apart? The excitement from the crowd surged like a wave. Sarah stood frozen, her mind racing. She had always thought of her troubles as insurmountable mountains, but now, this group, strangers, neighbors, people she barely knew, had come together, eager to help. Jack stepped aside, ushering everyone in with an encouraging smile, and Sarah felt a warmth spread through her. The sight of so many willing to lend a hand brought tears to her eyes. They cascaded into her heart like a gentle rain after a long drought, nourishing hope she didn't know could still grow within her. The first to step forward was Mrs. Thompson, a kind-faced woman with silver hair and a baked good in each hand. "I thought you could use these," she said, pushing 2 plates of freshly baked cookies towards Lily, who stood beside her mother, eyes wide and incredulous. "And I brought some pasta and sauce for dinner," she continued, gesturing to a bag slung over her shoulder. As if sensing the shift, Lily's face broke into a brilliant smile, her innocence radiating through the tension. "Thank you," she squealed, clutching the plates with delight. The joy in her voice was infectious, igniting a spark in Sarah's chest. More faces joined the gathering. A family led by a father who had spent the last few years rebuilding his own life stood proud, holding up boxes of food. "My kids and I are here to help however we can. And we brought some blankets too," he added, his eyes reflecting a determination that struck a chord deep within Sarah. Each donation felt like a thread weaving a tapestry of resilience around them. Others joined in, children running beside their parents, holding jars of canned goods and bags brimming with flour and rice basics that could stretch into meals. Despite her overwhelming gratitude, fear still lurked at the edges of Sarah's heart. What if this isn't enough? She thought. It was hard for her to envision a life that wasn't mired in struggle. But here, in this moment, surrounded by a community that believed in their collective strength, a tiny flicker of possibility began to melt her concerns. "Let us make this a community dinner," Jack suggested, his voice cutting through the din. "We can share recipes, create meals together, and celebrate what we have." His enthusiasm was contagious, igniting whispers of agreement and a few cheers from the crowd. Lily tugged at Sarah's arm, her face shiny with hope. "Can we, Mom? It sounds like fun." Sarah hesitated, eyes darting from Lily to Jack. Could she really open her door that wide and welcome these people into their lives? A knot twisted in her stomach, but she saw the energy radiating around her, the enthusiasm in Lily's eyes, and Jack's supportive smile. Taking a deep breath, she nodded slowly. "Yes, we can. Let us do it." Just like that, with those simple words, something shifted. The weight of her burden felt lighter, as though the shadows of loneliness and despair peeled back, letting in the bright light of friendship and hope. As they started unpacking the food and creating a space for everyone to gather, the room buzzed with laughter and the clinking of pots. Lily rushed to the kitchen, excitedly helping gather ingredients. As Sarah grabbed a can of beans, she noticed Jack hovering nearby, watching everything unfold with a serene grin. "You know, Sarah," he began, leaning on the counter, "by allowing them in, you're teaching your kids something invaluable." "What's that?" she asked, curious despite herself. "The power of community," he smiled. "The understanding that we're all connected, that when one of us struggles, we lift each other up." Sarah swallowed hard, feeling the first tear of acceptance slip down her cheek. Maybe this was the start of something more than just survival. It could be a beautiful journey toward belonging. But even as hope blossomed, another part of her worried, would they really come together, or would the gravity of their past keep them from fully embracing this gift? Just then, a voice broke through the excitement. "Hey, Sarah, what are your plans for the weekend?" It was Mrs. Thompson again, and suddenly, Sarah realized that this moment extended beyond just food. Feeling unbalanced, she straightened her back. "We're just getting started, but I hope we find hope in each other." As laughter floated through the air, a deeper question lingered. Could Sarah let herself believe that this warmth could fill the emptiness, or would the fears she harbored dim that brightness before it truly began? The energy in the room soared as laughter and chatter drowned out Sarah's swirling thoughts. All around her, neighbors and friends began to scatter, clutching ingredients and sharing ideas about the feast they'd create. It felt surreal, this moment of joyful chaos, like stepping into a new life. Lily was at the center of it all, her little hands busy mixing flour and water, her face a picture of concentration. Sarah couldn't help but smile at the sight. Cooking had always been hard for her, but now, with the warmth of the community surrounding her, maybe it wouldn't be so daunting after all. "Do you need more help?" A voice rang out. It was Jack again, sliding into the kitchen with the gentle confidence that had anchored Sarah through their earlier discussion. "Maybe you could help me with dinner?" Sarah replied, her voice softer than she intended. "Of course. Let us make those spaghetti and meatballs your daughter will love," he said, rolling up his sleeves. Together, they stirred the sauce as Sarah began to share the quick recipe passed down from her grandmother. The scents wafted through the air, invoking memories of family gatherings and laughter around a crowded table. Outside, the sun dipped lower, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange, while inside, the comforting warmth of camaraderie filled the void Sarah once thought would remain forever. "Wow, it smells amazing!" Lily exclaimed as she peeked over the counter, her eyes sparkling. She hopped up to grab a taste, licking sauce from her fingers. Can I help too? I want to make those in the shapes of hearts. Absolutely. Let us make those heart-shaped meatballs, Jack said, rolling them into small spheres together, laughter echoing in the kitchen. As they worked, Sarah felt the knot in her stomach loosening. The little moments, this laughter, the collective effort, the many smiles were slowly transforming her worries into possibilities. Soon, the table gleamed under the soft glow of fairy lights strung up around the room. The food laid out was a feast of colors, the scent of baked bread, a fresh salad, and the bubbling spaghetti filled every corner. Everyone's coming together. This is beautiful, Sarah whispered, her gaze sweeping over the wide array of dishes that had emerged. Jack nodded, leaning against the doorway with admiration in his eyes. It's more than just dinner. It's letting everyone know they matter. Just then, a knock echoed from the front door. A collective pause washed over the room, followed by excited murmurs. Is that more neighbors? Lily ran to open the door, uncertainty creeping into Sarah's heart. What if someone else couldn't understand? What if fears from the past surfaced again? The door swung open to reveal a tall figure wrapped in a warm scarf, her expression friendly. Oh, hi. I'm Laura. I just moved in a few doors down. I saw the lights, and the smell thought I could join. The simple gesture of a stranger bringing herself into their circle struck Sarah hard. This was more than about food. This was about trust, warmth, and community. Come in, Lily cried, her face aglow with excitement. We're just about to eat. As Laura stepped in, Sarah felt the boundaries that had once surrounded her crumbling, brick by brick. Would she really let this stranger into her life, into her heart? As laughter resonated along with the smell of warm food, Sarah fought the instinct to pull back. Maybe she dared to think this tea just about today. Maybe this could change everything. But before she could settle into the warmth of this shared moment, the door swung open again. The sound of chatter and movement filled the room further. But Sarah's heart raced at the unexpected panic flaring inside. What if they couldn't handle the space, the expectations, the vulnerability? As hope intertwines with fear, a question loomed large in Sarah's mind. Would this beautiful night be the beginning of something lasting, or would it awaken old wounds that wouldn't easily heal? The laughter grew louder, voices overlapping as more guests streamed into the already bustling kitchen. Sarah felt the warmth of community, yet it tinged with uncertainty. Faces blended together, a mix of old friends and new arrivals. She watched Lily flit from one person to the next, her energy infectious, savoring the attention of the new friend from next door. Jack leaned into Sarah, keeping his voice low as the room filled with chatter. You're doing great. This is beautiful. But Sarah felt a swell of doubt, creeping through her like a shadow. The doubt was familiar, threading back to moments when she felt excluded, a heavy past that refused to loosen its grip. What if it's too much? She whispered, more to herself than to Jack. What if they really see me? They already do, he replied, his gaze steady and reassuring. You're here. That's what matters. A smile flickered on Sarah's lips, but it didn't linger. Just like uncertainty, fear had a way of sneaking into joy, making itself at home. She turned her attention back to the room, watching as Laura chatted animatedly with another neighbor about decor. Suddenly, a crash shattered the buzz. Sarah whipped around to see Lily standing wide-eyed in front of her precious heart-shaped meatballs, a few rolling away to freedom. Silence echoed, but it was short-lived. A wave of laughter flowed, not mocking, but light-hearted and warm as everyone began to help gather the runaway meatballs. Sarah's heart pounded as she rushed to her daughter's side. Are you okay? Lily looked up, cheeks flushed, but she giggled. It's okay, Mommy. It's like a kitchen game. Just then, an older woman with bright blue glasses joined them. Sweetheart, it happens to the best of us. Why don't you come help me with the salad? We can make it extra special. In that moment, Sarah felt her heart expand. She realized that mistakes weren't failures, they were opportunities to connect. For every hiccup, there was a hand reached out, an offer of help, and laughter that filled the void. She let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. As the evening unfolded, people got lost in conversation, exchanged recipes, and traded memories. The atmosphere thickened with joy, the kind that felt like family, yet was comprised of total strangers. Sarah found herself drifting toward Jack, who had taken charge of the finishing touches on the meal, his calm presence a stabilizing force. "This is what I've been missing," she confessed softly to him, her heart swelling. "This feeling of togetherness, it's just the start," Jack said, his smile genuine. "You've built a bridge today. It's up to you to walk across it." And as the food was finally served, there was a grateful hum in the room. Plates were filled, laughter erupted at stories shared, and for the first time in a long while, Sarah felt herself belonging. But just as the warmth wrapped around her like a cozy blanket, the door swung open yet again. Her heart dropped. Who else could it be now? The moment felt fragile, and she didn't want anything to disturb this newfound joy. Standing in the threshold was a familiar face, an old friend from the neighborhood who had drifted away years ago, carrying with her unspoken words and unresolved issues. "I hope I'm not too late," the voice called out, uncertainty laced in the melody. Sarah's heart raced, longing and fear crashing together inside her. She had thought she was finally embracing vulnerability, but now she wasn't so sure. Could she accept this past alongside the warmth she had begun to feel? The noise of cheerful chatter faded into a hush, the weight of the moment heavy with potential. What would this encounter unravel within her? Would it bring healing or simply stir up old wounds and insecurities? As she stood frozen in choice, the room held its breath, waiting for her response. In the stillness, Sarah felt the world shift around her. The laughter faded, and all she could hear was the pounding of her heart. The familiar face at the door, Emily, seemed to embody everything Sarah had left behind. Memories flooded back, swirling in her mind like leaves caught in autumn winds. There were birthday parties, shared secrets, and then the silence when everything changed. "Emily?" She finally breathed, though her voice felt like a whisper among giants. Emily, with the same bright eyes that had once been a comfort, stepped forward, uncertainty lurking behind her smile. "I'm so sorry for just showing up like this," she said, glancing around the room, gauging the energy. "It's been too long." The warmth of the party felt distant now. Sarah's resolve wavered. Could she bridge the past and present? The invitation she had extended moments before now felt like a fragile thread, ready to snap. "Yeah, it has," she replied, her voice thick with mixed emotions. Sarah's feet seemed heavy, as if they were rooted to the ground. The laughter around her faded back in, yet it felt like there was a glass wall between her and the vibrant life thrumming beyond. Emily stepped closer, eyes searching for recognition. "I've missed this. Missed you, us." But us felt like a fairy tale lost in time. Sarah still remembered the day they drifted apart, harsh words exchanged over misunderstandings. Trust frayed like an old sweater. Her heart ached for the connection they once had, yet the sharp edges of their past clouded her resolve. Jack, sensing the tension, drifted nearby, offering support with his steady presence. He gave Sarah a gentle nod, understanding the battle waging within her. "Come on. Let us not dwell on the past," he said, his voice low and encouraging, pulling Sarah back into the warmth of the room, away from the chill of lingering wounds. "Invite her in. You've got this." In that moment, courage surged through her, a fleeting spark igniting the shadows of doubt. Maybe it was time to confront what had once shattered her heart. She could see Lily playing with new friends, laughing freely, and she thought of what she wanted to create, an atmosphere of hope instead of fear. With a deep breath, Sarah stepped toward Emily, closing the distance that had built over the years. "You're here now, and that's what matters." Emily's face lit up with a genuine smile, and it reminded Sarah of late-night talks and spontaneous adventures. "Can I help?" she offered, her eagerness palpable. "Whatever you need. I want to make amends." The gesture brought a rush of emotions. Could she really allow Emily into this new chapter of her life? A chance for healing shimmered before her, Yet the risk of opening old wounds lingered. Just as Sarah was about to respond, the room filled with a sudden murmur. Everyone was turning their heads towards the window. A flash of headlights illuminated the darkness outside.
Who could that be?
Someone asked, voice laced with curiosity. An unexpected sense of dread twisted in Sarah's stomach. What more could come through that door? As she stood at the threshold of decision, the weight of the past still heavy in her chest, a new tension crackled in the air. This gathering had revealed connections she didn't expect, and perhaps forces she wasn't prepared to confront. With her heart racing, she wondered if this night would bring more than she bargained for. Would she find the courage to embrace both her past and present? And as the door creaked open once more, a hush blanketed the room, anticipation shimmering like an electric charge. What awaited them all on the other side? The door swung open, revealing a figure framed in the halo of headlights. A shiver ran through the guests, who exchanged glances laced with unease. It was dark outside, but the outline of the newcomer was unmistakable. Billy? Emily murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. The name fell like a stone into the stillness. Billy, Sarah's younger brother, the one who had always been chasing after dreams that felt just out of reach. But this wasn't a night for childhood tales or fleeting hopes. His presence here now, at this moment, held an urgency that sent alarm bells ringing in Sarah's mind. The laughter from before faded into a tense silence as Billy stepped over the threshold. His expression was a mix of relief and desperation, the flicker of vulnerability evident in his eyes. His disheveled appearance made Sarah's heart sink. He looked worn down, like he'd been fighting against relentless storms. "Hey, everyone," he said, trying to mask his anxiety with a forced smile.
Sorry to barge in like this. Can we talk?
Jack instinctively moved toward Sarah, placing a reassuring hand on her back. Sarah felt the weight of the moment, the air thick with unspoken fears and unresolved tensions. She watched, rooted in place, as the familiar warmth of their gathering felt like it was slowly being extinguished. Emily stepped forward, her brow furrowing with concern. "What is going on, Billy? You look different." His shoulders sagged slightly, as if the world rested heavily on them. "I didn't know where else to go. I thought, maybe what?" Sarah finally found her voice, slicing through the tension that threatened to swallow them all whole. The warmth of the room, the hope she had just begun to embrace, felt dangerously close to unraveling. "You thought you could just show up after all this time and everything would be okay?" His eyes locked onto hers, the vulnerability shifting to a quiet firmness. "I'm not here to make excuses. I messed up. I'm running out of options, Sarah. I need your help." The room was charged with the energy of anticipation and fear. Laughter faded into careful whispers as others caught the drift of the conversation. "What happened?" Emily asked, inching closer, her instinct to protect rising. Billy's gaze broke away as he hesitated, searching for words that seemed stuck in his throat.
"I didn't want to ask,
but I've been having a tough time. My job fell through and I've got rent due." He paused, and for a moment, time hung suspended. Sarah's heart raced, each thud a reminder of their shared history. The arguments, the misunderstandings, the moments where they parted ways as if flipping a switch. Here he was reaching out with raw honesty. "Please, just hear me out," he implored, desperation lacing his tone. "I can't keep going like this." As the room remained silent, caught between surprise and sympathy, Sarah felt the boundaries of her own heart's struggle against empathy. The urge to help mingled with past resentments, a cocktail of emotions potent enough to paralyze her. Jack tightened his grip on her back, grounding her. "You don't have to decide right now," he whispered gently. But Sarah could see the way he was assessing the situation too, sensing the ripple of vulnerability and responsibility. Yet, even as she stood on the edge of this new chapter, a question thrummed behind her thoughts. Could forgiveness be found in moments of chaos? If she chose to extend not just a hand but also her heart, what would that mean for her and Lily? The atmosphere crackled with uncertainty. Billy took a hesitant step forward, eyes pleading. I just need a chance. Once again, Sarah felt the weight of her past bearing down on her, but this time it was joined by the flicker of future possibilities. Could she really embrace this moment of need? How would it change everything she had built? As uncertainty loomed in the air, waiting to be navigated, the questions echoed louder than ever. Was she ready to redefine family? Would she risk the ties that were already mending, or would she let fear seal off her heart once more? With her breath caught in her throat, she couldn't shake the feeling that this night was about to reveal much more than she anticipated. The silence thickened, drawing everyone into its fold. Sarah's eyes flickered from Billy to the others, feeling as if the room itself held memories and burdens she wasn't sure she could bear. Emily shifted uncomfortably, the concern etched deeply on her face. "Okay, Billy," she finally said, her voice softening. "Let us sit down and talk." The group reluctantly pulled together, chairs scraping across the floor as they formed a half-circle around him. The warmth of the gathering felt fractured, yet a part of Sarah longed for that connection, the togetherness that had once defined their family. Jack's hand lingered on her back, a steadying force even as doubt twisted inside her. She pulled a deep breath, steadying herself, desperate to understand how to respond. How could she open her heart to the brother she had pushed away? "Look, I get that it's been a while," Billy began, his voice trembling slightly. "But I don't want to grovel for help. I just need a place to stay for a few days. Just until I figure things out." A cascade of thoughts ran through Sarah's mind. Remembering the way Billy had abandoned the family over petty arguments, the way their paths diverged until he became a stranger. The anger had simmered under the surface for so long, yet now all her feelings jumbled together. "Have you tried reaching out to anyone else?" Emily asked, her voice laced with genuine care. Billy nodded slowly, his eyes shimmering with unspilled tears. "I haven't, not really. I guess I thought you guys would get it. I thought, maybe family is supposed to be there when it gets tough." A rush of memories hit Sarah. Family dinners, laughter, shared holidays. Those times felt distant, but not forgotten. Were they really supposed to be there for each other? "Billy," she started, her heart racing as he watched her. "You don't know what I've been through since you left. You can't just show up and expect everything to be fine." "I know. I messed up. I was stupid," he interjected. "I thought I could handle it alone. But the truth is, I can't." Emily moved closer. "We want to help you, but you have to be honest with us. About everything." Billy looked down, his shoulders hunched, and Sarah could see the weight pressing down on him. "I'm in trouble, like seriously. It's more than just a lost job. There are things I haven't shared with anyone, debts, mistakes." The room felt heavier, suffocating almost. Sharing might break the final walls that separated their lives. Sarah winced at the thought, but another part of her craved a connection, something deeper than all their past grievances. Jack leaned closer, a soft whisper of support. "Tell us what's going on, Billy. Just start from the beginning." In that moment, something shifted. Billy raised his head, and the vulnerability in his gaze met Sarah's. "Okay, it's a long story, but it starts with one bad decision." As he began to speak, the world around them faded. Each word was like a thread unraveling, revealing a tangled mess of choices and regrets. The knot in Sarah's heart loosened slightly, as each confession told made the evening feel more alive. And with each truth that spilled forth, chains of resentment began to loosen, replaced with flickers of understanding. What was this feeling? Was it hope? Billy's voice dropped as he revealed a chapter of his life Sarah barely recognized. There was pain mixed with fear, and Sarah sensed in that moment how very human he felt, just like her. Would sharing this weight help them forge a new path together? The night stretched on, the boundaries beginning to melt as their stories intertwined. Yet just as the first shy smiles crept into the air, the ringing of Sarah's phone sliced through the moment like a knife. Sitting back, she felt the sudden chill that came with its intrusion. The number flashing on the screen was all too familiar, a stark reminder of the life she had tried to piece together. "Mom," she whispered, tension creeping back in. Billy paused, watching her with concern. Whatever lay behind that call could change everything yet again. As she steadied herself, Sarah realized they were on the brink of something facing the past, peering into the unknown, not sure whether the next chapter would bring them closer or tear them apart. As she braced herself for the conversation, her heart raced. What would it mean, and how would it change the fragile moment unfolding before them? Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, each ring of the phone seeming louder than the last. She glanced at Billy, whose eyes were wide with uncertainty. Did he feel the weight of this moment, too? It wasn't just any call. It was the type of call that held the power to unravel everything they'd started to build. With a shaky hand, she answered, her voice barely a whisper. Hello? Sarah, it's me. Her mother's voice floated through, familiar yet heavy with an undercurrent of urgency that sent a shiver down her spine. I need you to come home. Home. The word felt like a puzzle piece that had long been lost. Sarah could sense the tension in her mother's tone, the impossibly tight grip of unspoken troubles. Is everything okay?
No, not really.
There's been an incident. What kind of incident? Sarah felt panic rising, a wave she had struggled to keep at bay. I don't want to worry you, but her mother hesitated, and in that brief silence, 1,000 fears raced through Sarah's mind. Could it be about Dad? Had something happened? The uncertainty hung in the air, stretching the moment thin. Mom, please just tell me, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. It's about your brother, David. He's in some kind of trouble. I need you. David? The name felt foreign on her tongue, a name intertwined with childhood memories that now seemed like a distant dream. She hadn't spoken to him in years, not since the family had splintered in different directions. She could feel Jack's eyes on her, a question forming in silence. Billy shifted in his seat, all tension and uncertainty. Discomfort swirled around them once more, the warmth that had started to grow now replaced by a chill. Mom, what happened? Sarah pressed, searching for a hint of clarity. There's no easy way to say this. He's in jail. Her breath hitched.
Jail.
The word rippled through her, a visceral reaction that felt foreign and entirely too real. What did he do? It's complicated. Right now, I just need you here. We need to figure this out as a family. The word family echoed with irony, the reality of their fragmented pieces colliding in her mind. She never thought she'd hear the word family used like a lifeline again, especially now, when her own relationship with Billy was finally teetering on the edge of something hopeful. Her fingers tightened around the phone. How can you expect me to come? Everything is such a mess. Life is messy, sweetheart. You know that better than anyone. Her voice softened, grounding Sarah even as doubts surged inside her. This could be what brings everyone back together. We need you. I need you. That insistent plea drummed against her heart. She glanced at Billy again, and this time, she noticed the way he bit his lip, uncertain but somehow resolute. Their eyes met, and for the briefest moment, she felt an unspoken connection, a flicker of understanding in the chaos. I'll come, she finally replied, her voice firm but shaking. Just give me a moment. As they hung up, her heart felt heavy, a rock lodged deep within. The echoes of her mother's voice lingered, and the weight of responsibility settled over her like a thick blanket. She looked around, taking in the faces that surrounded her, Emily's sympathetic gaze, Jack's steady watchfulness, and Billy's expression rife with concern. Sarah? Billy ventured, his voice almost hesitant. What's going on? David's in jail, she said, the words heavy in the air. Mom needs me to come home. The silence that followed was suffocating. They all seemed to understand the implications. Familial bonds stretched thin across lives unraveling, and Sarah could feel the tension humming. Would this new problem draw them closer, or would it push them apart? Jack reached for her hand, his touch solid against the storm brewing in her chest. Are you okay? He asked, searching her eyes. What would it mean for her and Billy? Would they have time to rebuild before facing whatever awaited them back home? A gnawing anxiety bubbled within, mingling with a profound sense of duty. But deep down, under all the uncertainty, another feeling flickered, a tiny sinew of hope. Yeah, she lied, forcing a smile despite the weight of impending chaos. I'll be okay. Billy leaned forward, a spark of eagerness igniting within him. Maybe I could come with you. I can help in any way. The offer surprised her. Would she allow him back into her life this quickly? The question loomed large, waiting to be answered. As Sarah processed his words, she realized that just as they were beginning to address the past, another chapter lay ahead, a shadowy road filled with choices that could forge new connections or deepen old wounds. Her heart raced, wondering what awaited her at home. Would she find only despair, or could there be healing for them all? Let us get ready, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. We'll face it together. As they began to prepare for the journey ahead, a new tension crackled in the air, a mixture of impending responsibilities and the dawning realization of shared strength. What awaited them at home? Would this choice pull them closer together, or would it tear apart the fragile threads they were just beginning to weave? As they stood at the edge of what felt like an invisible chasm, Sarah took a steadying breath. The weight of family history loomed heavily over her. Consequences and concerns blended, creating a swirling storm of emotions. But this time, she felt different. Surrounded by newfound support and connections forged over the last few days, Sarah opened herself to the possibility of a fresh start. Emily's eyes shone with understanding.
We're here for you, Sarah.
Whatever happens, you won't face it alone, she said, her voice a lifeline. Sarah nodded, gratitude washing over her. Thank you. I really appreciate it. With that sense of solidarity, they prepared for the journey home. Packing light, Sarah clutched the small bag that contained not just essentials, but the fragile hope that had blossomed miraculously in the past few days. Jack's presence was constant, grounding her every step, while Billy's eagerness mirrored the delicate wish for reconciliation that fluttered in her heart. Are we ready? Jack asked, glancing between Sarah and Billy as they gathered by the door.
Together?
They nodded as one. Together. It sounded simple, yet carried enormous weight. Each word echoed as an affirmation of their journey into both the past and the future. As they climbed into the car, uncertainty coated the air. But instead of despair, there was an anchor of shared strength. What if we talk about our plans? Billy suggested hesitantly, the missteps of the past still lingering but juxtaposed with an eagerness to heal. Right, Sarah exhaled, trying to summon courage. Maybe we'll focus on getting David the help he needs, and we'll navigate the next steps as they come. Jack turned in the seat, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. That's the spirit. We're going to get through this as a family no matter how messy it gets. Encouraged, Sarah felt a warmth bloom within her. She realized that acceptance and forgiveness could traverse the tightrope of their shared experiences, creating a path toward healing. The road ahead was uncertain, but she held it close, wanting to honor whatever family bonds remained. As the car sped along worn gravel roads leading to her childhood home, memories floated in like wildfire, the joy, the laughter, yet the pain always loomed nearby, lurking in silent corners. Do you ever think about why we drifted apart? Billy asked tentatively, glancing at her through the rearview mirror, vulnerability etched in his expression. It was a good question, one Sarah had pondered often. We let our misunderstandings get the best of us. We stopped talking and listening, she replied softly, the truth lingering like an echo. He nodded solemnly. I missed you, Sarah. I really did. His honesty cut through the tension, unveiling layers of regret and a longing to reconnect. Somewhere within her, a knot began to unravel. I missed you too, she spoke, her voice firm but warm. Let us not lose touch again, let us work on it, on us. The weight of that pledge filled the car with tentative hope. As they rounded the final bend and the sight of home came into view, Sarah felt a surge of anxiety mixed with anticipation. The air thick with memories had not only clung to her childhood home, but also to the possibilities waiting within. And when they stepped through the door, reality hit them like a tidal wave. Her mother stood just inside with tired eyes and a fragile smile, the weight of the past evident in her demeanor. Sarah, she began, voice trembling. Thank you for coming in that moment of recognition. Everything changed. Sarah stepped forward, embracing her mother tightly, letting the floodgates of emotion spill over. The walls of resentment began to crack, allowing for light and healing. Billy joined them, wrapping his arms around both of them. The moment resonated deeply in acknowledgement of their journey, of the unresolved wounds, of the necessity to rebuild. Perhaps, just perhaps, this was where they began to stitch a new narrative.
What now?
Billy murmured softly, still holding them. Now we work together, Sarah whispered back, the corners of her lips lifting. In a smile that felt foreign yet familiar. We face it all together. With fresh determination coursing through her veins, she realized that love, understanding, and healing were not bound by the past. They were elements ready to build a future. Family, with all its complexities, could be transformed into something beautiful, woven together like a patchwork quilt of stories and experiences. The weight of uncertainty still lingered, but there was a profound strength in her heart, one that had been nurtured through the struggles, compassion, and connections formed. They would navigate challenges together, confronting the storms and emerging stronger. As laughter began to weave back into the fabric of their home, Sarah allowed herself to dream of fresh starts, of joyful moments, shared meals, and the undeniable warmth of a family reclaimed. And, with that heartening vision in mind, she took a step toward the future. Now it was time for you to join this journey with us. You need to subscribe now to not miss out on the next inspiring stories. Leave a like now to fuel this community's growth and connection. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this transformational moment. And share immediately with at least 5 friends who need to see the power of love and unity. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the hope we all deserve.